Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Pano Pamadiri and Filter. Today, I have come once again with a very interesting video that's titled Building a Sustainable Business in Rural Zimbabwe. Often at times, when people speak about entrepreneurship in Zimbabwe, they always think about big cities, the likes of Harare, Bulawayo, Gweru, Masvingo, But what has sustained most people, even those in the diaspora, even those in big cities, are small shops in rural areas. Do you still remember back in the days when your father or your grandfather used to run a small business at your local business center, Kumosha, where you would send all his children to boarding school. After boarding school, you send them also to university through a small shop. And what I've got to realize as I was growing up is that is not to take rural small businesses for granted, but those are the key foundational businesses that mold entrepreneurship in Zimbabwe. Today, we want to highlight a few factors on how to start a sustainable rural business in Zimbabwe with the mindset of growing it to be a very big business empire. I myself personally, I grew up in a business family where most of me and my siblings, my brothers, we were sustained by a rural business empire, and I grew within it. That actually I learned the ins and outs of that business empire, and most people who know me, they can testify to that. I'm a product of a rural small business, but exposure has shown me that it mustn't end there, but you have to grow up to be a big business. Moreover, I will highlight key challenges or key mistakes that a rural business make, and I will highlight how to overcome them, how to grow a sustainable business. I will then give you a bonus tip on which sectors or which niches, as we say in business languages, are the most profitable in regards to doing a rural business, and how to set up. I will tell you the best structure to set up. See you after the intro. Pretty excited. You know why? This video speaks about my passion. Not my passion per se, but I would say it was forced within me. I grew up in a business family where my father, my aunts, and my grandfather, in fact, started a very good business empire. Where during his time, he had, I think, a fleet of 3 rural shops that were very, very profitable by those standards and by that time. As I grew to learn maybe from oral history, he managed to send his children to school. I still remember my fathers had such a very good opportunity of doing whatever they wanted in life, going to school, going to colleges and universities, and my aunts and my uncles, most of them were highly educated men. Unfortunately, some of them were passed on, may their souls rest in peace. But my grandfather was a business mogul, what I can say a rural business mogul. I got to spend 2 years with him personally, living at our rural home, Kumusha, whilst my father was taking care of business on the other side of the country, and I got to learn quite a lot from the old man. I would cherish such time. It has shaped quite a lot in my life, and I really learned quite a lot. Most people take rural small businesses for granted, but let me tell you, they are the heart of entrepreneurship in Zimbabwe. As you see Harare as it is, it's rural businesses that make Harare bigger as it is. Why? Because the money flows from our peripheries to the city. The money comes from those rural tech shops to the city, to big cities. So they play quite a key role even in our country's economy. Rural Zimbabwe is home to over 60% of the country's population. Did you know that? The majority of people in Zimbabwe, they live in rural areas. These communities often face limited access to electricity, clean water, transport, and internet. Essentials most businesses in towns rely on. But in spite of these challenges, rural entrepreneurs are finding ways now solar, there's now Starlink, where you can get internet to your rural shop. I'm speaking to people who are in the diaspora. You can start a rural-based business in Zimbabwe whilst you are in the diaspora, because most people are worried, how am I going to get reporting? How am I going to get it running? But you can start it, fix your structures, install your solar to make sure there is availability of electricity. Why? Because electricity and power are very, very, very key essentials in success of your business. Why? Because if you are selling things like refreshments, they need to be chilled. If you run a butchery, you know electricity in Zimbabwe is not reliable. There is also bonus tips which I will share on how to beat the unreliable electricity grid in Zimbabwe. Building a business here is not easy in rural Zimbabwe. Entrepreneurs often face hurdles like limited infrastructure, accessing capital and financial services. Especially in regards to capital and financial services, forget and relax. You have to start with your own capital in most cases. Build your shop. And what I like about rural businesses is that if you take a closer look, it's not that much expensive starting it, rather than maybe opting for bigger offices in towns. You can build infrastructure and key assets at a very lower cost compared to urban areas. So obviously, for those who are not privy to the Zimbabwean situation, so all those hurdles which I said make it very challenging for things like ordering equipment online, deliveries. Obviously, deliveries take weeks, because sometimes the road is not more passable during the rain season. But there are ways around it which I will show you to get started creating your rural business empire. What you would need first is capital. We'll discuss and make calculations on approximately how much can you need for to start a small shop. The first thing is your research. Research is key, and you'll discover that most people, they don't do much of their research. What most folks do as a mistake, they rush to their own local village to just build a shop. You know why? For the sake of kunzi, mu community akaita something vane mashopu without doing much research, which is key and important if you want to run a successful business. You will discover that not all rural areas have a concentration of a good population for a sustainable business. Maybe your area is one with sparse population, and challenges are that the council would designate a certain area to say this is a business area. And if you don't do proper research there to find out how many stands have been allocated at this business center, what type of business can I do, how many businesses of that kind are operating at that center, and how many potential businesses of that kind are likely to come at that center, and how would my shop be, where exactly would my shop be located? I will speak about that. The first thing is, this will not be, this has nothing to do about your pride. Remember, it's business. Going at your local business center, which has 300 shops, will not save you anything. Why? Because maybe you have a population of about 300 people in that local area. Then imagine that local area with 300 people, you have 60 shops serving those 300 people. Then you still need to add more to that. You will be sharing that smaller population. So number one, look for an area with a very good population. A very good population areas include your growth points. Let me highlight some of the biggest growth points in Zimbabwe. You've got your Bokwe Nembudzia. You've got your, in my area, we have our Mataga growth point. And there are a lot more growth point areas. I personally come from Mberengwa, and there is an area which we call Mberengwa office. Previously, when I was growing up, there was not much there going on. But as I can tell you now, there is much going on. People are building houses. The council has been selling stands. So the population is growing quite at a very good rate. And that's on most growth points. Why? Because people in the diaspora are building houses and most councils are selling stands. I'll give you a tip about an area called Muzarabani. So watch this video to the end. If you are not yet subscribed, please do so. Why? Because panel we share valuable content to speak about entrepreneurship, how to make money in Zimbabwe, and we support entrepreneurship. Don't hesitate to comment in the comment section, telling us about your ideas, telling about what video you want us to do next. If you need to advertise, don't hesitate. I promise that the first 5 people that contact me, they will advertise on this channel for free. Why? Because exposure is key. We also do flight our own adverts here. Those products we really believe in them, and don't hesitate to buy, because I only promote legit good deals. Let's go. So we're speaking about potential areas to target areas that have a potential of growth. So you need to go to your local council, do research, find their master plan. Now, most councils are sharing their master plans, what they intend to do in the coming time. And if chances are high that maybe our country gets better, maybe we get an inclusive government or something, those areas will grow most, especially growth points and areas with number one, a hospital, a school, maybe a college or something. But some areas have potential growth. The other thing is to check economic activity, such as mining, especially mining. There are areas with a lot of gold deposits, like your Mberengwa, your Shurungwi. So check how many shops are there, what economic activities are there, so that you know your business will be sustainable for quite a number of years. The second thing is, after you do that research, your council, your local council, obviously compliance, but it's not a big deal. What's a big deal is a liquor license. A liquor license is quite a big deal. Why? Because the process is the same from rural to urban. The process of acquiring a liquor license is quite the same. And also those licenses are renewed quite. You get you go buy a stand at a local council, you get your license and you renew them after some period. But I don't believe that it's getting a license is more than $500 US. And getting a stand, it depends. It varies from 1,000 to maybe 5,000. A stand can be more than 5,000 US dollars, depending with the obviously the area and how big it is. After you make your research, check supply things like obviously your power supply, infrastructure. There are some rural areas that have good infrastructure, roads, like take for example Zimba has good infrastructure in regards to roads. Check things like where are you going to get your supply, especially if you got a smaller town nearby with good wholesalers. But most areas they've got good smaller towns nearby. But also big cities are very good to be nearby you, or to but obviously being Zimbabwe, you always find your way to the big city for your supply. And after you do that, you have secured your place. Now target things that will never give you problems. Or for example, doing a butchery is a very good business, but you have to know that you face challenges. The first challenge is At home, I'm really experienced with the butchery side, the bottle store side, and the grocery side. Why? Because I grew up in that setup, so I'm quite knowledgeable. A butchery will give you challenges in regards to the power grid. If you rely on your local electricity, I'm telling you, on the power grid, you'll be trapping yourself. Imagine having the whole beast or two beasts floating and going to nothing. That situation has happened to us. That situation, I saw it happening where two beasts got burned. And the beast is almost $500 US to 600 depending on the time. So it means 1,000 just went out the drain. But now I discovered that there is a very reliable source if you want to do butchery of power, which is gas refrigeration. Make sure you order from South Africa very good deep freezers that are powered by gas. Make it your backup system. Or if you make your calculations, if you see that it's cheaper to do gas, you can even use gas for refrigeration. I promise you, gas will never let you down. It will cool your stuff to the standard and without any side effects whatsoever. I've enjoyed quite a lot using gas, and I've seen it being utilized. It's very effective. If you need assistance in regards to obtaining a gas refrigerator anywhere in Zimbabwe, please don't hesitate to contact the numbers showing on your screen. The other thing now, obviously, if you're doing grocery in your bottle store, you need good refrigerators. Depending with the time, mark this. You might find out that maybe the time you have invested is a good year. Delta Beverages at a good year, in a good year, will be giving people refrigerators for free to utilize so that you can put their brands. You just need to go to check with them and apply. They will supply you with a very good branded refrigerator. But this only happens depending with what the year. But you don't have to rely on that. Buy your own good refrigerator. Refrigeration is key in the success. Let's then go to your bottle store. As I told you, to start a bottle store, you need a liquor license. That's key and essential. Most people, yes, they might go unnoticed, use the back door, but to obtain your liquor license, you have to go to Harare Street. That's the challenge of a centralized system. Apply for a liquor license, which will take quite some time to get. And after that, we build the infrastructure. I tell you, one of the fastest growing and moving business and reliable business is dealing with liquor. What you have to deal with now is security. Why? Because violence has a tendency to maybe some people will end up being killed on your store. And if that happens, you end up in trouble with authorities. Sometimes it has led to closure of shops, and sometimes it has led to shops or businesses. You know your local story where in shop because why? Because people maybe someone killed someone there because of violence. So that's the biggest challenge a bottle store. But the bottle store is fast moving. The other thing is now Akusina Mascadi. In most they are still there Mascadi, but now the beer which is being sold doesn't go bad. And you know what? The demand is always up. Beer, it doesn't matter the time, the demand of beer is always up. If you want headaches, do grocery. Grocery are a headache. Why? Because stock control is very difficult. You know, because Zimbabwe, there is a tendency of corruption. People's minds are corrupt. You hire a shopkeeper, they believe that they have to steal from you to make money. I don't know why. That's the mentality that has entered almost everyone. Once you hire them, they start stealing from you. And to count sweets each and every time, maybe you are based in UK, it will be very difficult. But a bottle store, you simply, the truck comes or you order at your local town, you count how many bottles do you have, which are in, At the end of each and every day, you are able to count, because the volumes are not that much. You are able to count how many are still remaining, calculate the balance. So that's in regards to infrastructure. Let's go now to principles. You know, I got to discover through documents that what the old folk did, what made them successful, was that they adhered to business principles, due to the fact that by that time it was rhodesia. So every business had to comply, and by force, rotations. So bookkeeping was done to par for compliance sake. I saw financial statements which surprised me when I was still a young boy on my grandfather's records. It surprised me quite a lot. Why? Because by the time my father took over, we were no longer doing anything in regards to financial statements. So, but I saw financial statements. My grandfather was doing financial statements on his business, and they were audited by an accounting firm. So the principle, business still remains business. Accounting needs to be done. If you don't have an accounting background, try, before you set up your structures, try to consult a knowledgeable accountant. I know this is difficult to set the structures, to set the books. Nowadays, as we were speaking about internet connectivity, we have good softwares, accounting softwares like QuickBooks, Zero. You can put a Zero system whereby your shopkeepers, their till is linked to your Zero, and you have installed Starlink. Starlink will send you the daily takings in England where you live, and all the accounting details in England where you live. You monitor your cash flow quite well. Especially the rural business tends to thrive when you are not there. Why? Because some people, they just open a shop for the sake of kunzi. Kanokata shop is a sign of prosperity. But most of them are struggling, end up even closing and go broke, or not generating anything, or not making profits, or because they are not sticking to business principles. At the end of the financial year, you don't just take money from your business. You wait to get a profit share, and then your business will run sustainably. But the challenge may be banking. You have to keep your money cash in hand. That's the biggest challenge so far. I don't know arrangements which you can make, and make sure you keep your money in forex. Don't do the sick thing or anything for now. Why? Because we know it's still volatile and it's still uncertain. So that's in regards to some principles and mistakes that I see people do, which I saw people do, not sticking to business principles, to withdrawals. Zvokuti kana munhu akapfuura achitengesa kana mango, ototi kumusikana, tora mari, ndipei sisi, ndipei $3 nditenge mango. No, that's not how you do business. The other mistake is small mindset. So to make it an empire, it doesn't have to be one business. Remember, as I told you, most people fail who start businesses in rural areas. You can rent shops. You can rent shops and sign lease agreements, up to 10-year leases. And the small mindset, one shop won't make an empire. One small shop won't make any money. Make sure you have a fleet of shops. I'm telling you, 10 shops in the rural areas are better than maybe one shop in Harare CBD. They will be making quite a good amount of money. Peak seasons like the festive season, people buy. Public holidays, people buy like crazy. Also, if you implement what you see, especially if you are based in the diaspora, maybe you are running a nightclub, maybe a bar, make it a nightclub, nice, put a hi-fi music, nice music, television, is the big thing there, movies, soccer, it's also the big thing. Make sure people are well entertainment, because people do also things like promotions. I see people not doing promotions, frequent promotions. Make sure your place is tight, neat, and perfect. So the other mistake is women, humanizing. If you are a man, there is a big challenge. If you hire female employees, I'm speaking this from my heart. If you hire female employees, don't also make them your wives. That's a big mistake that you can do in your business. Try as much as possible to separate business from affairs. Shopkeepers who are not your wife, your official wife, leave them alone. Why? Because once you fall in love with them or date them, that's the ticket to steal from you. And even if you discover that they're stealing from you, you can't do anything because you love the person. She will tell you, so you don't love me. So you are left tied in a very big corner. And you know what she will do? She will never love you. What she will do, your own girlfriends, when they come, she will give them stuff for free. Your own relatives, they now have a ticket to getting stuff for free. And everyone who may be a friends, they get stuff for free. And you can't do anything. So the biggest mistake you can do is to sleep with your employees when you're running a rural business. This is the biggest mistake that I see most rural businessmen do. So we have mentioned the small mentality, small mindset, and quite a lot of things. Please, I don't want to make this video too long. I'll do maybe part 2 of it. See you next time. It's bye-bye for now. Don't hesitate to subscribe, like, and share, depending on where you are watching from. If you are watching this from Facebook, please don't hesitate to follow our page. Panotino share Madiri and Legit Madiri. It's all about entrepreneurship. See you. It's bye-bye for today.